The notion of a necessary definition of what it is to be American has existed since America's inception. Early scholars, such as Henry Nash Smith, toyed with a constrictive characterization of an American national identity, attempting to uncover a unified definition. Nash recognized the need for interdisciplinarity in American studies, yet his focus on white male popular culture led him to form an inaccurate framework for understanding and analyzing the American national identity. Subsequent scholars, such as Jim Cullen and Lee Harrington, build from his work and examine the cultural practices of a larger segment of the population. These scholars argue that looking at all folk culture, currently known as popular culture, better represents the American national identity.
This acknowledgement led to a better understanding of American daily life, and accordingly, a better understanding of their ideologies and values. What scholars uncovered is an American ideological system built upon individualism, Puritanism, progress, and capitalism. Generally, the majority agreement on these issues creates a sense of unity among Americans and leads to their sense of entitlement. Yet, rather than acknowledging the potentially biased nature of Americans' claims to entitlement, believers label this entitlement American exceptionalism. These ideologies are apparent when studying the history of cultural forms like comedic performance.
Blackface minstrelsy displays the Puritan and superiority ideologies in the 1800s. African Americans were portrayed as subordinate in vernacular speech, song, and dance. Ethiopian delineators, or blackface minstrels, contributed to the superiority complex of many white Americans by allowing whites to laugh at those supposedly inferior, depicting black folks as unintelligent, lazy, and incapable of society.
Well, why don't you get a job and go to work?
You almost had me a job this morning.
Where?
I went down to the post office and asked that man, could he let me have one of them jobs as a letter toter?
No, Cotton, you mean a mail carrier.
Vaudeville is a prime example of how progress and capitalism influenced and engendered a new comedic form in the late 1800s and early 1900s. In the midst of the Industrial Revolution, money was on the minds of nearly all. Finding the most efficient and quick systems for earning the highest profit margins became more important. Additionally, the ideology of progress and the subsequent advent of new technology established a new system of disseminating information and moving ideas. Many once localized and isolated comedic forms were able to unite and travel. The result was a new multi-part show, Vaudeville.
What's all the noise and what are you made up for?
Who? Whoa!
I brought my horse with me. You know, I'd like to ask you one little question. What? Would you marry me? No, I won't marry you. No? No. Do you know anybody that will marry me?
Unlike blackface, vaudeville was inclusive of minority and oppressed groups in the United States. In fact, it actually united the many different cultural backgrounds to help forge the American national identity. But as the country united, the superiority complex shifted. Much of the derogatory and condescending humor moved outward. Americans began to look down upon other nations, holding themselves to a higher regard.
As America grew as a nation and a world power, it began to become more involved in global affairs. American exceptionalism proved a useful ideology to inculcate to gain public favor to support international conflicts in the coming decades. Film aided in this effort, and politically charged sketch comics became popular in major newspapers. These films and comics all contributed to the growing notion of American exceptionalism.
Currently, stand-up comedy has become more popular than ever before. Individualism informs stand-up by promoting the belief that every person is unique and has a unique contribution to make. American exceptionalism continues to flourish, and as a result, more and more comedians have the courage to perform protectionist or anti-non-American humor.
So you're a terrorist? Yes, I am the terrorist. What kind of terrorist? A terrifying terrorist. Are you scared? Not really, no.
The history of comedy in America illustrates the influence of early American ideologies, many of which were used in the service of fostering American exceptionalism.
America, America, America.